Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
All right, welcome to this Sunday early morning edition. My fault for the pause. I thought the music was still gonna play. I was in there putting some stuff up in the kitchen. Whew. College football started yesterday and had a blast. It was fun. Football. It was morning. I think I started watching at noon. I got off. I got off the couch a little bit. Went to go watch a little bit of those games. There were some great games yesterday. Certainly hope next week is even better. You got next week. You got the big tilt, Alabama and Texas. So that's what we want here. We're liking to see. But yeah, everybody go ahead and hit that like button if they don't mind. Let me go ahead and double check. That not having. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me check that again. Okay. All right. There we go. So there. Yeah. All right. So hopefully you all are having a great weekend. If you have a long weekend, I'm lucky. I have a long weekend. I was off yesterday, off today, off tomorrow for Labor Day, which is the official end of summer. So hopefully you all had a nice summer. Everybody was healthy. Everybody made it through. Your kids are okay. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get it started. So see here, there's about 10, 12 people here. I appreciate you all being here this early in the morning. Big week. If you don't know, we Sony dropped a lot of information last week from buying a. Let's wrap it up. We're kind of gonna do that. We're gonna talk about the C.M.A. and ACTIVISION news. We're going to talk about the death of a franchise that I really like. The Halo franchise is dead. It's DOA. We'll pull up. I think I got a Windows article on it. 343 getting thrown completely under the bus. We'll talk about whose fault this is, things like that. I'll give you my Last of Us impressions. There are 4 modes to the Last of Us, and we'll do some Q&A on it. Also, big shout out to King Thrash. If you want to see a detailed breakdown of The Last of Us from the PS3 version to the PS4 version up to the PS5 version, go check out Thrash's latest video. If you're subbed to me, you ought to also be subbed to him. He did a sensational. It's about an hour long, but if you really want to see your differences and things like that, some of the things he is right about. The atmosphere. It's hard to explain the atmosphere when you're playing the game. The key in that game is the atmosphere. Also, I've got a joke that I've started. You have people online blaming Sony now for their packaging being funky. And I'm like, it's not Sony's fault. Your package got delivered like that. It is the people delivering the package. But I just told some guy that you would blame the waiter for bringing you a bad meal. It's not his fault your meal isn't cooked correct. It's not the waitress's fault that they made your drink wrong. All right? That's it. That is the fault of the person that's actually delivering. Okay, so if you go and you have a porterhouse and you want it medium and they cook it well done, it's not the waiter's fault. It's the cook's fault. So, and Sony, again, made the game and you decided to ship it however you shipped it. Amazon, DHL, regular US, whether it was bulk, that was your decision. Also, I have noticed that you have people, but look, I'm a capitalist. I believe in the free market. Let me set that out right now. So, meaning that if you create a product, there's a market-based analysis done on your product, and they will say you can sell your product based probably for $49.99. That's what the market will tolerate. All right. And so you sell the product for $49.99. All right. You may sell it for $69.99. Now, these are based on market-based studies. We're in a capitalistic society. This is the United States. It is capitalism. They even make fun of it in Grand Theft Auto 5. That's why he said you can go to school and learn how to rip people off for free. It's called capitalism. So you have people who believe in a more socialistic system. That's what Microsoft is doing. They are doing a social system, giving people access with horrible quality of the game, of their product. Microsoft, however, has always done this. This is their DNA. You know, they've always gone quantity over quality. That's the difference between them and Apple. So, again, much more social driven, much more communist driven. So they don't believe in a free market. They believe in a social market that that the companies don't set the prices, and that we the people should set those prices. So no, you're in a capitalistic society. So doesn't matter if you need a Band-Aid. You know, you can go to some stores and get Band-Aids you can get 10 Band-Aids for $4, and you can go to a dollar store and get some Band-Aids for $1. So maybe you'll get 10 for 10 or something like that. So again, you're in why does some ice cream cost more than the other ice cream? It's a free market, therefore you buy what you want. So they don't understand what anti-consumerism is. The fact that I can go buy something as a consumer is pro-consumer. That makes it pro-consumer. So if you go to the store to buy you a 40 of OE, the fact that you can go buy the 40 of OE is pro-consumer, because you have a choice. It's not like they're telling you every Friday you have to go drink a 40 of OE. Because nobody's telling you to do that. So if you lived in a society where you had to go get a 40 of OE every Tuesday, that would be a social society. That's a social society. A capitalistic society says the 40 of OE is there. You can come and drink it anytime you want. You got to pay for it. And that's the way this is going. You have a capitalistic group who understands the free market. And then you have another group of people who don't believe in that anymore. They believe in a more social structure. They just do. That's just who they are. Part of it is the entitlement that they have. I've actually heard people, I've said this the other day, they're now saying, yes, they're entitled. So to me, I'm now looking at the people who are listening to them. It's your choice to listen to somebody who's an entitled, I think people that are entitled, and these are mostly millennials, they have a sense of entitlement. You're like, something should be done for them. I want to participate, and XYZ is making it easier for me to participate, but they are destroying the quality. So what about the quality? I ain't worried about the quality. Okay, well, let's look at the death of Halo. Let's start there. That's a game that every year, the years that it came out, Halo 1 was a complete game. You had a beginning, middle, and end. Halo 2, they followed the same script. Halo is dead now. And you got to understand, I was at Best Buy, because Best Buy, when Halo 3 came out, Best Buy was one of the official Halo 3 launch headquarters. I mean, they had them all over the country, but Best Buy was one of those places that you could go to. And we were there. We got there I personally got there at 7 o'clock. There was already a line there. I was standing in line. We were trading stories, but over us was this huge banner. It said Halo 3, finish the fight. That's what it was called, finish the fight. That was the name of the campaign. So let me see if I can find that. It's the Because I know you idiots are going to run and say, I want receipt. So let's see here. Halo. Yeah, finish the fight. Matter of fact, that's the name of the song. That's the name of the song. So there is a song called Finish the Fight. So let's see. Marketing campaign. So we can just go here. This is why did Halo 3 have marketing? I want to show you this, and this is old. I mean, this is from Game Facts. This is one of those stupid looking threads. I just want to show you so you all can see that I'm not, you know, because you got a bunch of fruit booties out there that are going to say this isn't true because to them nothing is true. But there you go. You can clearly see it. Halo 3 had a marketing tagline of finish the fight. And they're asking, this is game, again, this is the truth. Oh, there's some La Rosa's pizza. If you got, go get some La Rosa's, okay? Mwah. Very expensive though, but boy, it is worth it. But so anyway, I'm showing you this to give you a sense of the marketing behind Halo, the huge push. I mean, everybody was talking about it. Even Howard Stern, as you know, the shock. Yes, that Howard Stern, the shock jock, he was even talking about it. So everybody was gonna go get this game. This game died. This game died because Microsoft doesn't give a damn about quality. They just don't. And that they destroyed this franchise systematically, a little bit at a time. They didn't do it overnight. They destroyed this franchise, and this is nothing but a punch in the face. This is one of, if this franchise defined what Xbox was. Okay, that OG Xbox, you had to have Halo. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody had that little OG Xbox, the little black one with the little green thing at the top, had Halo. And my favorite Halo scene was not the opening scene, but once you get to the Halo, you were running through the mountains. You could kind of look over your left shoulder. You would see this coveted drop ship coming in, and you would see the, whatever you want to call them, the Rangers, the Master Chief's people, you know, whoever those were, the U.S., whatever they were, the Marine thing. They were just down there just battling. And it looked, I mean, you had the Covenant drop ship that had that purple hue. They were shooting purple lasers, and you had your Marines, they were shooting blue. I mean, it just, and you had the draw distance. Everything about this said, holy cow, why is this not a movie? Why is this not a TV show? It was even, we would argue about it at the arcade. Man, it'd be a great show to have Halo as a show, you know? So, but Microsoft, along with its stupid ass fan base who don't demand quality, let me make this clear, they don't demand quality, they destroyed this game. And that is on Microsoft, but it's mostly on the fans who have decided, well, we're not going to buy stuff. So that if you're not going to buy stuff and then reinvest into the machine that's pushing this stuff, they're not going to have any choice but to have piss poor marketing, which they had. They got piss poor product, which they got. Even the TV show is trash, even though it is a success. Let me make this clear. Paramount has declared this show a success. Fine. I don't know what numbers they had. I can just simply tell you what I saw was trash. Right? I only watched the first 3 episodes. I heard it got a little bit better. That's perfectly fine. I couldn't stomach it. It was so cheesy looking. It literally looked like it looked like the Power Rangers TV show back in the 80s or 90s. If you want to see something that looked terrible, go back and watch that. But one of the things that Sony tried to do that they failed at, now I guess they succeeded now, was Killzone was created, and Sony came out and said Killzone's going to be our Halo killer, which at the time, Halo was the biggest franchise on planet Earth. It was huge. I mean, there were other franchises out there, but Halo was the franchise. I mean, it was like I said, long line, midnight launch, a long line of not 10 people out there, not 20 people. There were at least 120 of us in line at Best Buy. And I was living in Lexington. So, I mean, so it if we're out there, I can't imagine what it was like in New York City or Los Angeles or Houston, Miami, Atlanta, Memphis, huge Cincinnati, big cities, Philadelphia, Boston. What was it like for them in that line? And to see this franchise die, and it died because, again, the lack of people wanting to purchase because they just want everything for free, and not understanding that if you buy, it doesn't matter. Let's throw Game Pass away. If I have nothing but Sony service, PS Plus, if I have the essential tier, which is $10, I am paying $120 a year for nothing. Sony can pull games in and out of Plus whenever. I just got an alert that World War Z was about to leave Game Pass. So if I'm playing World War Z because I came home and I put on a headset and I want to call in the B2 and get one-man army with my friends, if we're playing on Game Pass, guess what? We're not going to be playing on Game Pass too much longer because there's no ownership. It's just giving me access. It's just simply giving me access. So the Halo killer, let me get back to that, which was Killzone. Sony didn't have to do this. Sony bought Bungie, and Bungie created the Halo killer, which was Destiny. So Bungie created Halo. You got to remember, the story of Halo is, for one, the Halo that you're playing in third person, or I guess it's in first person. Is it in third person or is it in first person? Whatever. The way you're playing it is a hack. Halo originally was a turn-based strategy game. That's what Halo, remember, I think that it's called Halo Wars. That's the actual original Halo source code. And Halo Wars, people may not like turn-based games, I understand that, but I've not heard people say Halo Wars is a low-quality game. So, at the end of the day, what killed Halo? What killed Halo was the fan base in the Microsoft ecosystem who didn't want to buy games. And again, let me make this clear. There's Halo 1, there's been 5 Halo games, 6 Halo games, and then 2. So there's been 8 Halo games. 8 Halo games. It has spanned since the original Xbox all the way till now, and now we're not going to have any more. Simply because of what happened. And again, I hate that because I was there at midnight for a midnight launch for Halo 3. Took the next day off from work, of course, played all day the next day, and just loved the game. And I will always remember the people that I talked to in line. I still remember them to this day. The sheer joy, the excitement that we felt. And so I personally want to thank Microsoft for that, because if somebody had told me 10 years before then I would have been waiting in line for some video game, I would have said you're nuts. But Halo made me get up off the couch, walk up, go to Best Buy. Oh, and they grilled out, by the way. They didn't grill out. They ordered pizza for all of us, which was very nice of them. Best Buy didn't have to do that. People were there just, again, they were drawing pictures. They couldn't wait to finish the fight. And so I personally, it'd be easy for me just to trash on Microsoft, but it's not their fault proper. The fan base destroyed this franchise, not demanding the quality. Halo reached its pinnacle with Halo 3. I'm sorry, with Halo Reach. Halo Reach. Okay? Halo Reach is the best Halo game I've had the pleasure to play. And again, high quality game. Halo Reach is a prequel. I'm sorry, there was more than that. We had Halo Reach, we had Halo ODST. I forgot about that. So there have been, 9 Halo games? So obviously it's a franchise that a lot of people like. They got a lot of mileage out of it, but they have destroyed it. And this is what happens when you don't have quality. You got to understand, Microsoft in its DNA core isn't about quality. It's about quantity. It always has been. And look, I've been around, an old man. I remember when Microsoft came about in the 80s. They had some pretty good products. I mean, they had MS-DOS. If you don't know, Microsoft didn't invent MS-DOS. They bought MS-DOS and they went in and made some changes so that IBM's computers could talk to each other. And what Bill Gates did was he was able to just keep the licensing of DOS, and then he took it to everybody. Westinghouse, he took it everywhere. He took it everywhere, not just IBM. He took it to IBM, Ricoh, Westinghouse. If you don't know, I believe it was Westinghouse that invented the mouse. Everybody thinks it's Steve Jobs. No, the actual mouse was invented, I believe, by Westinghouse, by some woman there. But what Steve Jobs did, the mouse, the curvature of the mouse, Steve Jobs invented that. Steve Jobs also invented the top-down screen. So anytime you are on a computer and you pull down a drop screen, that's Steve Jobs. The color, the red, green, and blue, Steve Jobs. So, and Steve Jobs always said about Microsoft, paraphrasing, that they don't innovate anything. They don't. So let's get back to fair market price. Let's look at a Microsoft product that is marketed. Let's look at the Surface tablet. The Surface tablet is considered in the industry one of the best, if not the best tablet to have. It rivals the iPad. And it just so happens that let's see how much one costs, okay? I would want to go to the store today, or if you want to go to the store today, let's type in Surface tablet. Is it Pro? Okay. Wow. I'll just put this up on the screen so you all can see it. $5.99. Now let's talk about the free market. So Microsoft has done a market-based study. They've done a market-based study, and they have been told that their tablet can tolerate the market for $600. Now, why is this pro-consumer? It's pro-consumer because I have the right to purchase it or not purchase it. That makes it, we're in a capitalistic society. So that makes it okay. Okay, it's okay for them to sell it at this price because me, the consumer, I have the final say. I don't have to get up tomorrow morning. There's nobody's gonna come, boom, 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 knock, slam my door and demand. The state of Kentucky is not gonna come to me with guns in hand and drag me to the store and say, you have to go buy this. That's because we live in a free market, and it's why, and these guys online don't understand what anti-consumerism is. The fact that I have a choice to buy this is pro-consumer. The fact that Microsoft makes this is pro-consumer. The fact that I could go in and say, you know what, I really like it, but I'm going to wait on a sale. That's pro-consumer. These guys actually online, because they're stupid. I just figured it out this morning. They're not being taught this stuff in school. Okay? I don't know what they're being taught in school. Like I said, some guy saying that the reason why his Last of Us copy was crushed was because of Sony. I said, no, it's because the people who delivered it crushed it. That's why you get insurance on all your products. Okay? That's why you get insurance. Okay? Yeah, that's why when you ship something on Amazon, it asks you, do you want the extra insurance? Yes. If you buy an electronics product, do you not put the warranty on it? Yes. I mean, you have a store warranty that lasts, what, 30 days? So if you go to Best Buy today and you buy a new television set, doesn't matter what kind of TV, I think you could bring it back in like 30 days or 2 weeks. That's their policy. They're going to cover it for 2 weeks to 1 month. But when you get home and you get the TV set up, you're supposed to look at the paperwork, and there's a phone number there, and you're going to call Samsung, and they're going to ask you, they're going to, hold on. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. I am going to have to break this into two parts, so may have to come on a little later tonight. So again, pro-consumer, meaning that I, the consumer, have the last choice to buy this. I don't have to buy this, which is good, right? Which is good. So that's the difference. If Microsoft was going to be anti-consumer, they would literally say, in order for this device to work for you, you have to buy something else Microsoft related, or else this device won't work. So that's anti-consumerism. Okay, that is a practice of anti-consumerism because I just can't go buy this. Why I got to go buy something else? You know what I'm saying? It's just as you have a right to go buy a lottery ticket. Nobody is forcing you to go buy a lottery ticket when you go to the store. Okay, you walk in the store, you don't have to buy anything because it's a free market. Not meaning that the market is going to set the price, and then we, the consumer, tolerate that price. So Microsoft knows that this tablet stresses at $599.99. That's it. That's what the market is going to bear for this tablet. That's it. Now, I have a choice. You have a choice. Everybody listening has a choice. You can go buy this tablet, or you can say, you know what? I don't like this tablet. I'm going to go look at the iPad. And you may say, okay, I like the iPad more. That's the free market. That's a free market. Okay, that's the way this works. We're in a capitalistic society. I now understand you have people who want a social society. They want a socialist system that they can go ahead, and even though you still have free reign, the socialist system will say, okay, you need to do this, this, and this first. You need to qualify. You must have an 800 credit score, something like that. You can't come in here and pay cash. It's credit only. That's a social society. If you're going to put tires on your car or your truck, you can go put Pirelli on there. You can go put Goodyear. You can go put Firestone. You can put Michelin. It's a free market. You have the choice. So every time you have a choice to make, it's, you don't go to one tire store and not unless you go to the Michelin store, you understand. If I go to the Michelin store, I can't go in there and get Firestone because I'm at the Michelin store. By default, you went to the Michelin store. You can't go to the Michelin store and demand Pirelli or demand Firestone because they're going to be like, you have to go to the Firestone store. Now, if you go to a open store, like, I don't know, Towery and Saunders or something like that, they'll have more tire selection. That's pro-consumer. So again, the fact that Nintendo and Steam and all of them and AMD and NVIDIA make things for us to consume that's what that is. That is pro-consumerism. It's not NVIDIA's fault that they're going to charge $2,000. NVIDIA's going to charge $2,000 for their 3090. That's still pro-consumer. It's not NVIDIA's fault that you can't afford it. It's not. And NVIDIA isn't under no pressure to sit up there and say, well, we don't care, that we're going to do this because you can't afford it. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. You can't afford it. I'm going to say that again. It's not their fault. You can't afford it. A friend of mine is he saw drone racing. Like they have these drones that you see people out at the park and stuff like that. They actually have a drone racing league. I didn't know this. He saw this on ESPN one night, and he's like, "Man, I kind of like that. It's here's the investment to get in. It's going to cost me $3,000 to get into this." It's not the drone racing league's fault that he couldn't afford 3 stacks. That's not their fault. That's the price to get in. That's the price to go in, get certified, get all the stuff you need, and then you come in with your drone. There's no guarantee. It's a free market. The people that run the drone racing league, this is how much money they want for you to get in. Okay? Just like if you wanted to play football back in the day, the league was formed. They said, here's how much it's going to cost to get your jersey, Okay, that's how much it's going to cost. This is how much it's going to cost to rent your equipment. And oh, we're not going to pay for the shoes. All right. Now, at that point, the parents have a choice. Either they can afford it and their son played, or they couldn't afford it and the son sat out. It's still pro-consumer. Nobody owes you anything. It's not their fault that you can't afford it. Period. Okay? And if, again, there's more issues going on here. You have the sense of it, but the sense of entitlement tells me Microsoft shouldn't sell this Surface Pro X 13-inch screen for $599.99. I can't afford that. This thing needs to be $399.99. I can afford that. That's the entitlement that I'm seeing. And again, let me make this clear. I at least have the receipts of the guy saying, yes, it is entitled. I am spoiled. These are grown-ass men with jobs. Like literally, but they have a sense of entitlement, and it's coming and it comes out in their podcast. So I can't determine what's value. If you want a Surface Tablet Pro 13-inch screen, here's your cost. That's your cost. You can pay $600 cash, or you can go in there and finance at $50 a month. That's the cost. All right, you're not gonna go in there and say, "Oh, come on, man, hook a brother up, for $299.99." Or why don't you go ahead and let me give you $200 today, and I'll come back in 3 weeks with the other $250. That ain't the way this works. It's a free market. It's a free market. The price is the price. The price is the price. I'm gonna keep saying that. So, but let's go to something else here. All right, man. Do I want to go ahead and talk about for all the people who thought that Sony wasn't vetted very hard by the FTC when they purchased Bungie? They don't know what they're talking about. See, they're not telling you all the truth. Okay? Of course, the FTC is going to do its job and do a phase 1 look at what they're buying. They're buying something that everybody has access to, and they want to make sure that Sony doesn't get a competitive advantage. That's why as soon as Sony bought it, they literally came out an hour later and said that that they are working as a subsidiary of Sony, and they're going to keep doing what they are going to do. And this is the difference in what they're doing and what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft has a recent history of taking intellectual property off of other platforms that were going to be available. That could be looked at as a form of anti-consumerism. That's what this committee is doing. That's what the FTC does. And every country on planet Earth has a regulatory agency for commerce. I mean, that's just the way this is. Even the internet, I don't know if you all knew this, they had to pass a new law for the internet to work. Why? Because people in Texas wanted to do business with people in Wyoming, and there's a commerce law. Every state has a different type of commerce law. That's why you can go to Florida and you have no state tax, but you cross the border into Georgia, you got a different tax system. That's the way this works. I'm to a point now where I'm like, they're not teaching you guys this in school, because this is 4th grade stuff. I mean, for me, we learned this. How come I go to the store and it says, when I was a kid, how come it says this costs $1, but when I get up there, it says $1.16? I mean, it only says I need $1. Well, that's because of the taxes. Okay, what's a tax? So it's this. So for the people who are out there telling you guys that Sony did not get the scrutiny and all that kind of stuff, they're not telling you the truth. They're full of shit. You say they're full of shit and you move on. Okay, and this is for anybody, because I knew when they bought Bungie, I'm like, well, Bungie only makes one game. and it's multi-plot. It's a multiplayer game, so I don't really play it, but it's on all these platforms. So it's like they're not going to just pull the games off platforms. That's why I keep telling people about Sony and Square Enix. I'm like, well, Sony, even if they buy Square Enix, the games that are on other platforms that are reportedly going to other platforms that Square is making, Sony can't just pull those games off. That's anti-consumer. Okay, because what Sony is saying is that in order for you to enjoy this, even though this was coming to your platform, we're pulling it off. So here's what Microsoft did that's now caught up to them, and I may have to continue this later. Microsoft had multiple IPs in the Bethesda ecosystem that they yanked off of the PlayStation ecosystem. The Xbox community gets this confused with what Sony did with Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man was being made by Activision. Okay, Marvel Games had a deal with Activision. It was Activision that told Marvel Games, we don't want to make Spider-Man anymore. Okay, we're not, and Marvel Games wanted a bigger return. Quite frankly, they're like, yeah, you all should be making more money. Now you get into the minutia here. Shout out to Rocket Raccoon. We get into the minutia. Marvel Games starts to shop the Spider-Man IP. But since they're already working with Sony, with Disney, they're like, okay, let's go talk to those guys. So they put out a word. They get in touch with Sean Layton. Sean Layton is literally asked, what studio would he recommend if there was going to be a Spider-Man video game? And Sean Layton didn't say Sony Ben. Sean Layton didn't say Naughty Dog. He didn't say Gorilla. He didn't say none of his first-party studios because that's nepotism. He said Insomniac. At the time, Insomniac was an independent studio. So let's start right there. Sony's first contact with Layton, with Marvel Games, is to go to Insomniac. Here's what Layton did. Because he made the introduction, Marvel Games wanted Layton to oversee the project. At that point, Insomniac is still independent. This is one of the biggest projects they had to work on. Sony is now leveraging, which is legal, they're leveraging their intellectual property, Spider-Man, owning the rights on movie and TV with this game. That's all Layton did. And Insomniac was reportedly intimidated by Sony. And because if they didn't hit certain marks and things like that, they were intimidated. But all Layton would say to them is, you think it's going to make the game better? They said, yes. He said, well, take all the time you need. But again, that's totally different than what Microsoft did with Starfield, which was slated to come to PlayStation, and Elder Scrolls, which is already on PlayStation. So now these regulatory agencies are like, you're not going to do this again. You're not going to take an intellectual property that's already being played, already being enjoyed by certain people, and take it from them. We're not going to allow this to happen. So they are doing a deeper dive into what they're doing. It's a phase 2, which is totally legal. It's totally legal what they're doing. They did a phase 1. Okay, they did phase 1. And now they're doing a phase 2 because they're like, we don't like the fact that you're doing this. You're gonna, you've already pulled 2 IPs. We can see that you have pulled 2 IPs, okay, off of this platform that was slated. We've seen the documentation. So now what's going to happen with the phase 2? Because, and again, it may not happen. Microsoft has a week because they can ask for an extension because of the holiday, which their attorneys will do probably. Don't be surprised if Microsoft doesn't ask for a little more time because of the holiday. They have the absolute right to do that, and they'll get granted. They will grant it to them. So they're going to go ahead and wait on Microsoft to come back and say, here's what we're going to do. Phil Spencer came out and finally gave you some legal look in and said that we've already signed a deal with Sony to keep the game on their platform. beyond what it is. I mean, how come I'm the only one that understands that this is not going to take place in like 2026? So the problem isn't the immediate future. The problem is down the road. What if I and 10 other people create a console and we want Call of Duty on the console and Microsoft leverages things against them? They are going to make sure Microsoft doesn't do that. So you already have Sony as an Azure cloud client. That's another thing that's working against Microsoft right now. People got to remember. So Sony is a client of Microsoft. So they have all kind of leverage over them. And this, all they're doing is they're going to make sure that Microsoft doesn't do that. And how do you do that? Phil Spencer's like, well, in the immediate future, yes, he's right. They've already got a deal. A lot of people didn't know that. That's now disclosed. That is now disclosed. Shout out to Mike for the $2 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. Let's see. Appreciate you listening. Hit that like button and share. Only thing I ask is that you donate a like and a share. That's it. That's it. So that's what they're doing. That's what the CMS is doing. That's all. They're doing their job. And they have the absolute right to say, because of Microsoft's current history on what they did. And again, Microsoft said that's why Microsoft cushioned it and said, well, the legacy games will stay on PlayStation. But not the new stuff. The problem is that they already had the Elder Scrolls on their platform, and now you're taking it off. But again, these Xbox people, they say, well, Sony did that with Spider-Man. No, they did not. No, they did not. Only thing Sony did with Spider-Man was they had publishing rights to the console. That's it. They had publishing rights to the console. And Sony, because they bought Nix's studio, and so therefore they can publish it to whoever the hell they want. And again, Sony waited for Spider-Man to go to PC through Nix's, another studio that they own. They had publishing rights to Death Stranding on console. That's why when it went to PC, Kojima had the absolute right to negotiate with a third party, and it was a third party. Was it 505 Games that put it on PC? Okay, and that's the truth. 505 Games put Death Stranding on PC. Sony owns the trademark of Death Stranding. Sony owns the name Death Stranding. So any toys that come out, Sony gets a taste. So does Kojima. If there's going to be a Death Stranding Part 2, Sony owns the name. So that Sony either has to let the trademark go, or you can go and buy the trademark from Sony. And then you can go ahead and make the game with Kojima. Of course, Sony's going to own certain things with Death Stranding. Kojima used their engine. Kojima used the Decima engine, which is proprietary to Sony. That's Sony's proprietary engine. And anything Kojima changed in Decima that he made better, and you can see that with Horizon Forbidden West. Oh, well, I do have to go, guys. Somebody's knocking on my door. I gotta go eat breakfast. I promise you I will pick this up in about 45 minutes. So I will talk to you guys later.